Was this one of the first beats you ever learned to play? It was for me. But then when it came time to play with other people, it sounded awful. And I realized I couldn't play like this and sound good like all of my favorite drummers. It took me years to figure out that I was practicing all wrong. But once I figured out the right way, everything changed very quickly, and I've been drumming and recording professionally ever since. So in this video, I'm going to show you what I wish someone had taught me years sooner. By the way, I want you to play along to the exercises in this video and come back to practice every day. Leave a comment to log your current date and tempo to keep yourself accountable, and I'll put a link to grab this practice planner so you can put these exercises right into your practice routine. And that way, we're all getting better, faster together. First of all, when you're playing this beat, there's 3 common mistakes drummers are making that are making it sound a lot less than professional, okay? So let's fix those mistakes first and foremost. First mistake looks like this. Now what's going on here is the hi-hat, the snare, the kick, they're flipped. You need to rearrange them so that the snare and the kick are on top and the hi-hat's on the bottom. But how do you do that? Well, you need to think of the hi-hat as the smallest piece of the puzzle, kick and snare as the primary drivers of this beat and this sound. That means you need to be hitting the kick as hard as you can, and you need to be hitting the snare very strong, and you need to get extremely quiet with your hi-hat. How do you get your hands to play different volumes? I would start without even playing the beat by practicing something like unisons, but get your hand on the hi-hat tapping this far off and your snare hand 6 to 12 inches off. So you can do that gradually, and you can practice actually lowering one hand, raising it back up. So I'll just do it this way. If we have both hands, let's say tapping, and these are our quarters or eighths or whatever you want to call them, well, can you raise one hand up while the other stays low, but still have them hit the same at the same time so they're not flaming? So here's the right hand, and then gradually bring that back down. Okay, now the left hand. Open the hi-hat, why not? Still tapping with the right hand. Bring the left hand back down. You can do this with all 4 limbs if you want to. You can get your kick drum involved in there, have it tap, have it get louder while the other components are staying low and tapping. Bring the kick drum back down. First step is getting that independent, so you're able to get those together, okay? After you've done that, let's go back to just the hand pattern from before. So typically, a drummer just starting out would play something along these lines. Just leaving the kick out. But we're going to get that hi-hat hand way lower. That's first. So, little taps. Not up here, okay? Second step, get that left foot pressing down. So I'm just on the ball of my foot with my left foot pressing down on the hi-hat pedal. So it's nice and tight. So because if my foot's just resting, it's all kind of open and sloshy. Even though it's closed, it's not closed. There we go. So you're going to get a calf workout from like pressing down with your toes, and it's going to make you sound 10 times better, just that alone. So when it's tight and low, and I also keep my hi-hat a little close to the drum and forward, so I don't even have to cross over. It's actually quite convenient. You don't have to do this, but I'd recommend experimenting with it. So instead of crossing over, well, because like if I'm going to keep my hi-hat hand only this high, I'm in trouble, right? So I play out here. I don't even have to move my right hand, and we're good. So tapping. And 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. So, kick on top, snare on top, hi-hat. Here we go. The solution to mistake number 1 is get the hi-hat very quiet. Mistake number 2, I'm making already. And what's going on there is my snare is really static and it sounds kind of a little rudimentary, let's say that. The trick to solving this is to have some peaks and valleys. So I'm talking about really strong 2 and 4, the accents, and those taps in between, I want you to get them as quiet as possible to start. You really experiment with this, but that's going to be mistake 2 of 3 to playing all of your snares at the same volume. If you can fix that and go loud, tap, tap, those taps don't even lift up. This is not a tap. That's not a tap. That's a note. Get an inch away and check this out. Put my stick above it, tap by going down only. Get that as quiet as possible. And then loud with the others. In fact, what you really want to be doing is whipping and rim shotting. And then 2 taps, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Get that with this. And with a kick. So mistake number 3 goes hand in hand with that, but you need to explore how to make this even more human and dynamic. What's missing for a lot of drummers when they aren't getting this sounding professional is their sense of internal dynamics. Now, I've just taught you some with the contrast between the loud and soft snare notes, but that wave, that sense of ebb and flow, up and down, loud and soft, you want to get that into a lot more than just the snare drum. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is experiment with different hi-hat hand, maybe that's 3 H's, hi-hat hand options for dynamics and articulations. But how do you do that? Well, the thing to first look at is what I would say is a miniaturized molar stroke. So we have this wave motion that goes down and back up. You're tapping on the way up. As I lift from my wrist, I'm getting a nice little tap. I often like to play that downstroke with the side of the stick on the edge of the hi-hat. When you're playing this really fast, by the way, it doesn't feel the same as like that molar fluid wave-like thing, and it feels more like a really quick little kind of, I don't know the analogy. But at these tempos we were playing, we're doing something like that. Down, up, down, up. Now this takes practice alone, especially practice in coordination, because you want to have that going while your left hand is going loud, soft, soft, loud, and this is going down, up, down, and you're strong with a kick. Getting all that together is its own discipline that you should practice for weeks. Like so. Down, up, then with a kick. It's because right there, up, I got to hit the kick dead on with a whole different motion that I wasn't doing before. So take your time, make sure that you can play your kick drum really strong against, and in time, with the downstrokes, like so, and with the upstrokes, down, up, down, up, down, up, and a couple of other ways I'm going to share with you in a second when we get to our like step-by-step practice. But there's a fourth problem that's plaguing a lot of drummers, and getting unstuck is going to be crucial for you, like sounding more confident when you're playing any groove. In order to get unstuck, you need to be comfortable with some other beats that are beyond this. And when you do that, this becomes even more confident sounding and even more professional sounding. How do you even start to do that? How do you approach like getting systematic about being able to play any beat in the world that you can come up with? Well, here's the system for you. Our framework is very simple. We're going to be playing eighth notes on the hi-hat, and then with that, we're going to play 2 and 4 with our snare hand. This right here is going to be our ostinato, and ostinato is a rhythm that always repeats, always stays the same. So you're going to repeat this, and then your kick drum is going to become the variant. So this is our constant versus the kick drum being the variant. Starting with just the eighth notes, but we have a lot more to cover, you should be able to play a kick drum on any eighth note in that measure. So if this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and put it on the 3 and a 3, 4 and a 4. 2 note combinations, 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2. Now I'm going to put it on and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's just eighth note combos. All the ands, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2. Anything there. Those are just different kick options lining up with the right hand on any of the eighth notes. But take it more systematic than that and work on honestly, the full rhythmic checklist. We're just going to look at the 1 and 2 note combinations for today, but you should do the 3 note combos as well. Now, what this means is we're going to play each of those anywhere in beats 1, 2, 3, 4 while we're keeping that ostinato with eighth notes on the hi-hat, 2 and 4 with the snare drum. Now, before we get to the play along where you can actually do this with me at different tempos, let's break down what you need to do. So the first rhythm is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm just putting it on 1 or 3 E and a. Then we have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a. That's the second rhythm. E and 3. Now I could do it for every single beat. That's the E of every single beat, like that, like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Here's the ands, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Next one is the ahs. 1 E, a 2 E, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1. Then we have 2 note combos. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E N, 3 E N, 3 E N, 4 E N. But there's a couple steps that you need to do. You need to do this slow. You need to make sure you're counting out loud. It helps a lot to say the kick drum rhythm louder with your voice. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, like so. And then get each one of these individually solid, slow before you practice along with me. And practice along means we're going to just do, for time's sake, 2 measures of each. Let's get into it. So I want you to practice along with me. You can use the timestamps below to find the tempos that are comfortable for you. Don't forget to grab the PDF in the description and leave a comment to log your progress. And if you've got all the tempos mastered here, I've got an extra challenge for you at the end. Now, once you do that for a couple of weeks, start mixing and matching. That's where you do 1 E, E and if you mix and match these rhythms, you're playing any beat in terms of kick with 2 and 4. So any kick drum pattern to make a beat, that's 1, 2, and like that kind of thing. Anything is possible once you do that. You mix and match a couple other like left hand things, whether you play or get some ghost notes. But I did promise you an extra challenge, and that's this. Our hi-hat ostinato, or rather our full ostinato, is going to change from 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So the right hand is playing this. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Got to get through the whole rhythm checklist just the same. So I'm going to play you out with this. That's your challenge. If you've got that, then I want you to send me that video because I'd love to see it. Now, if you want to actually get this up to speed and not kill your feet, you need to change your kick drum technique so that you can play fast, relaxed, and for a long period of time. But how do you do that? Watch this video where you're going to get the technique that's going to transform your kick drum speed forever.